Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Life After Her podcast with yours truly, Nicole and Sweeney. I hope you guys are having a wonderful Saturday. I'm so excited about today's podcast and our guest speaker today, Austin. If you guys have been watching or following the Life After Her podcast, you know I am just very passionate about relationships and doing relationships in a healthy way and just being able to make the right decisions when it comes to allowing certain people into our lives. And so today's podcast is the men edition. We are talking about men and relationships and singleness and just offering different voices and perspectives around this particular topic. So, if you can share this broadcast, I would greatly appreciate it so that others can join in. So, we are going to jump right into today's session entitled Singleness and Preparing for Husbandship. Today's guest speaker is Brother Austin. He's like a big brother to me. And he is a father of four girls and a boy. He works in education and has been in education since 2005. And he is the co-director of Lexel Girls AAU program. So without any further ado, I am going to bring my brother Austin to the stage. Come on to the stage, Brother Austin.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. And you?
Good. Well, thank you for being here today. I appreciate your time, especially since it's Father's Day weekend, and happy Father's Day to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. So, we have a couple of viewers watching. Um, Kira Sweeney says, Good evening. Good evening to
Good evening.
you. Thank you
Good
guys for
evening.
watching. Make sure you share this broadcast. So, Brother Austin, before we go into today's session, is there a fun fact you want to mention to the audience? A fun fact about yourself?
I just love having fun. I love talking. I love educating kids.
Mhm.
Um, I just love living life and enjoying life.
Yes, I can attest to that because Brother Austin and I work together and we are always cracking up, but also always, working and supporting our students. And so, he's a real one, y'all. So, hello, Jessica. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you guys' support. Vanessa says hello. This is Vanessa listening while I am driving back home from my event. Yes. Be careful, Vanessa. Be
Yes,
careful. And Jessica, who is also my sister, she says enjoying life is important.
of course.
Yes, it's very important. All right, so let's jump into these questions. Again, this is a judgment free zone. We're here to have a good time and also offer people just a different perspective on this topic. And I think the society we live in today focuses a lot on relationships, and there are so many different perspectives around relationships when it comes to men, women, even teenagers, because we work with teenagers and adults.
Right.
So,
We dealt with that
we
yesterday.
yes. Right. How perfect, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
How fitting. So, in one sentence, what do you believe a husband is?
A husband supports his spouse emotionally.
Mm, okay. Okay. A husband supports his spouse emotionally. Okay, that's really good. Can you kind of unpack that a little bit more? Like an example or different like scenarios where a husband would support his wife or spouse emotionally?
Um, this is my second marriage, so understanding your wife and sometimes they have, when they come home from work or come home from different things, they want to express themselves. And before this marriage, I used to be like, okay, whatever. But I feel like being there, understanding, and giving back feedback to them, they
Mm,
need that. because a
Mm,
lot of times, we're taught growing up that we don't deal with emotions, and
mm,
a lot of men, boys and men, we don't like to deal with emotions because from a kid, that's what we're taught. Men, emotionless. We don't deal with our emotions. We just brush it over. We get knocked down, we just walk away. We get up and fight, and then we
mm,
move on. We don't deal with that because that's like a bad word for men,
mm.
for boys and men. But I feel like in a marriage, a healthy marriage, you have to kind of deal with those emotions with your wife and be able to express yourself and let her express herself and give good feedback.
Mm. You said so many good things, and I'm taking notes as you talk.
Okay.
So I'm not ignoring you, but just taking notes. You said a lot of great things. I like how you added the emotional component to marriage and healthy relationships because women, we tend to deal with our emotions. We are raised at a young age to understand, feel, and it's okay. But like you just mentioned, it's taboo, or like you said, a bad word for boys or young men to deal with their emotions. And so, how do we change that perspective for young men and men? Like what are ways that we can change that and let people know that it's okay for boys to deal in their emotions and it's actually healthy, to be quite frank.
um, by people like me and some people I work with, we talk to the young men, let them know that it's okay to be deal with your emotions, to cry or have get upset about different things and expressing yourself.
Yeah.
Um, Growing up, that was something that we couldn't do. If we did that, we were labeled something that we didn't want to be labeled as. So we refused to be, delve in that section because we didn't want to be labeled as that. What other people would label us, that negative connotation. But by people in my generation and a little bit younger, just helping kids to understand that it's okay.
Yeah.
It's not a problem. And I think this is a reason why we have a lot of men that now that is disrespectful to women and stuff like that because they never dealt with their emotions. So once they get frustrated, they just start to lash out because they never had a chance to do it in the beginning and growing up. So this is the only way they know what to do. They wasn't taught to deal with their emotions. So what they do, they just lash out. So they don't have to deal with their emotions.
Oh, that's so good. That is really good. And I have never heard anybody say it in that way, but it makes perfect sense because you're right. I feel like definitely my father's generation and up, they were, taught not to deal with it, suppress it. You don't have emotions. And what other way are they able to deal with it than to, take it out
Lash
on
out.
lash out on someone else?
Anybody. And I
Yeah.
mean, I felt that growing up too. I was, when you get frustrated or you get, something bothering you, instead of you just, even maybe even just crying, because crying is a release. It's a form of
Yes.
release. We couldn't do that. So what we do, we want to fight, we want to hit something, we want to yell at something, we want to curse out somebody. So those are some of the ways we use, and that instead of being emotionally conscious of what's going on, we just lashed
Mm,
out.
yeah.
And just and talking with a lot of young men that's been incarcerated and stuff like that, some of those are some of the issues that they have is that they had no way to release
Mhm.
and the things that they did to release was not productive, so they end up getting locked up because they never was taught how to be emotionally stable and how to understand your emotions and deal with them.
Yeah. That's really, really good. I agree with that. I do think that young men are taught to suppress and not deal with it. Sometimes they don't even know how to identify the emotion that they're dealing with. And so having, men like you to model what healthy management of your emotions look like for young men, I think it's important because this generation, I feel like, is more aware of mental health and, your emotions. And so I think we're getting better as a society, but that thing, like you said, that bad word is still there when it comes to young men and teenage boys. So you're absolutely right. I agree with you 100%. You kind of, I'm sorry, you were gonna add to that.
Oh, well, kind of like really, I didn't start really dealing with that till I was like 42.
Really?
Yeah. Huh?
Wow. So what was the change for you? Like, what was the thing that made you feel like, all right, I need to deal with this instead of suppressing it?
I met somebody who allowed me to be me, and
Oh,
supported me to be me, and let me be that person who could be emotional too.
wow.
I found
Ladies,
a space. I found a space that I can be comfortable in order to be able
wow.
to show my emotions.
Okay. I like that. So you felt like you had a safe space to be able to be vulnerable.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. Ladies, I hope y'all listening. We have to be a safe space for our men, whether it's romantically or it's someone in our family or even a friend or a mentor mentee type of relationship. We would us women have to, be able to create that space for them because they will open up. They will open up. So thank you for adding that point in there.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, what do you, and you kind of share this a little bit earlier, but I want to expound on it a little bit more. What do you think is being taught to young men about becoming a husband? Or are they even being taught how to become a husband?
I can only go back to like my youth when I was growing up. I was not taught anything about being a one person man. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? I seen it, but then I seen the other side of it as well. Um, as when we're kids, when we're growing up, when I was a kid, when I was growing up, it was it was taught to us to have more than one woman because that was the significance of being a real man. A man
Mm-hmm.
has multiple women, have multiple things going on, kids everywhere. Like that's all we seen. So that
Mm-hmm.
was something that if you weren't doing that, then you was a square. Like you was corny. Nobody wanted to really, you only got one girl. Like what's wrong with you? You know,
Yeah.
and it was the thing to do back then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it wasn't taught at all. And
Mm.
maybe it was taught to some people, but for the majority of people in the city, I grew up in Patterson, it wasn't. We didn't really see that. You
Yeah.
see the grant. No, the generation was different. Like my grandparents,
Yeah.
yes, Papa came home to the wife with the
Yeah.
kids and all that. But then once we started getting a little money,
Yeah.
and Papa didn't want to give, Daddy didn't want to give Mama the check because they was out all day before they got home, and now they only got a couple. So it was generational differences. And then
Yeah.
my father's generation, it was different.
Yeah.
And my
Yeah.
him and grandma been together for 80 years. You know what I mean?
Wow.
70
Yeah.
years, 60 years, 50 years.
Yeah.
So
It's interesting because when you hear married couples together for that long 50, 60, 70,
it was
and up,
taboo. It was taboo.
it's like what, that's a
Right.
thing, but
Yeah.
it's possible.
It's
It's
possible.
possible.
It's a lot
Yeah.
of work,
Yeah.
but you gotta be
Lots of
willing. You
work.
gotta be willing to put that work in. You gotta
Yeah.
want to put that work in.
Yeah, you have to put that work in. Vanessa says, wow, I love that male woman who allowed him to be himself. Yes, 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 yes. Absolutely. So, how do we, I feel like we're the adults of this generation who have to model certain um, or healthy habits for the younger generation. How do we get to a place of showing the value of being a husband to our young men? And I know this isn't one of my questions, but our conversations are like, just flowing. And
Hmm.
so it's just a question that popped in my mind. Like, do we get to a place where, um, the youth are going to see that there's, value to being a husband, like you said, being a supportive spouse emotionally, being a protector, being a provider. Like, I think, men, husbands play a very significant role in families. So how do we change that narrative?
Leading by example,
Mm-hmm.
being an example to the younger generation. Also, speaking to them about it. I mean, a lot of times, a lot of as men, boys, men, we don't even have conversations like that.
Mm.
We don't talk to each other about stuff like that because it's figured like you're corny. Like what do you mean? The conversations aren't real. They're all about what can you get from the world, not about what can you give the world.
Whoa, hold on. Let's pause there. What can you get from the world instead of what can you give to the world?
Yes.
That right there is very, very profound because men are givers, right?
Right. Right.
Wow. I love that. I love that comment. I'm sorry. You can continue.
No, it's just like being single, like singleness. What is singleness? You know what I mean? There's
Yeah.
different variations to it. Like Matthew in the book of Matthew, it has I think it was Matthew 19, 1 through 12. I believe it says Jesus talks about vocational singleness as a giving of romance, marriage, sex, and children. That definition does not pertain to nobody I grew up with or known. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we,
Mm-hmm.
growing up, grandma always had us in church, but we never vocational of singleness, giving. Nah, giving. No, that we were taking.
Mm.
There's
Mm.
nothing given about what we were doing. We're
Yeah.
taking whatever we can get.
Yeah.
Nobody never told us about giving
Yeah.
romance. Nah, I'm taking romance. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And not meaning like forcing taking, like just I'm just doing it just to be doing it. I'm not giving my whole self to the whatever the situation I'm in.
Right. Right.
Right. I'm just getting what I can get from this relationship, and I'm moving on to the next one.
Yeah. Wow. That's good. I appreciate you saying that because it's it's not said the way you put it, but I can see that within our society and our culture.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that was good. Y'all, do y'all have any questions for Austin? Because he's on fire. He is on fire. So Ari says hello. This is my niece. Hey Ari.
Hello.
Just said yes to your comment. All right. Thank y'all for watching. Yeah, this is really good conversation. And I feel like, when you talk about like taken versus given, I also feel like the whole given piece can also encompass men being protectors in
Yeah.
relationships. And if they are constantly taken, they're not really being protectors of
Exactly.
the experience. So
Exactly.
yeah, I like the way you put that. Um, but kind of going back to your point earlier about speaking to the younger generation, like I think it's important to start having those conversations because as girls, we tend to get those conversations at a very young age, how to become a wife or a mother. It's something that we just instinctively do. Our mothers teach us, our grandmothers teach us, you know, the mothers at the church, all the women that surround young girls tend to teach, girls about how to become a wife, but it's different on the male spectrum. You guys aren't really having that conversation. And so I think I think it's important to have.
We have it, but to a certain extent, you know,
Okay.
res- respect the women and
Mm-hmm.
different things like that. But for the most part, like for example, a guy can have a daughter, and the daughter, wants to go out and do things. And we're like, nah, I don't think so. I'm thinking I got like this boy. I got to meet him. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know about all that. The same guy can have a son. Yo, dad, I was with this girl last night. Whoa, 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 word. Tell me about it. It's a difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
Men, like for his daughter is no. I'm not. I don't want to hear that part. For the son is encouraging to go out and do more. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
How do you feel about that? Do you feel like that's a double standard, or that's just the way it is?
I mean, my younger me was all. It was all with that. Like I have 5 daughters, so it was like. And the thing about that, my grandmother told me when I was younger, she was like, "Boy, all that stuff you doing, you ain't gonna have nothing but daughters."
And
But
got 5 of them.
I used to be like, man, I ain't talking about, I don't think about that. But it kind of gives you a different perspective. But if you're not really focusing on that, then it won't you won't really care mine until your daughters become dating age, and
Mm.
then it's a difference once they start, at the dating age. So now you're more cautious in what you're saying and what you're doing because you want to make sure they're doing the right thing.
Yeah. 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 That is very true. My father also raised 5 girls, so I have 4 sisters. And when you and I first met, we kind of had that thing in common with the 5 girls. And so yeah, you're right. He was he was very, very, I would say very strict with us. There was, boy, what? No, you cannot date. You can't look at a boy. It was a completely different as compared to my brother. So yeah, there's a difference when it comes to raising girls and boys. But
Yes.
such is life. So, in an ideal world, what do you believe should be the healthy maturation phase of young boy to teen to adult concerning relationships? What do you think that process looks like?
That process can go different ways. As a teenager, it's kind of difficult for you to really understand about relationships because, for the most part, and we see it every day in school, high school, because it's a microcosm of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Um, all the boys all they want to do is get with every girl they can, so they can say, "Yeah, I've been with all these girls." So they're not really thinking about relationship. Now you have some that are, thinking about relationships, but not for the long haul, not long term. You know what I mean? Um, so as they get older, it might change, but it depends on what's going on in their life. I
Yeah.
see difference in what like when men that are go to college and get a degree and financially, they seem to think that I've seen a lot of this. Men think that they can do what they want to do because I
Mm.
have money. I don't care. I just do what I want to do, and it's different for women because women, they go to college, they have to get their degree, their career, and then
Mm-hmm.
they decide, okay, now I'm ready to be in a relationship. A guy is just relationshiping all through this whole process.
Mm.
So speaking to some young, young women, well, women, they're not young, but they were asking me like, what's the reason why guys don't want to be in a relationship? I'm ready, but they're not ready. A lot of guys are not ready at that time. So
Mm-hmm.
if they're not ready, you're ready. You can't force them to be ready. So
True.
a lot of times, once we get to a certain status as men, it's like, why should I settle down? I got
Mm.
money. I can do what I want to do. I can mess with this young lady. I can go over here. I can go there. So until that person is ready mentally, they're still going to be doing the same thing.
Yeah.
It takes them a while to really mature. Women mature faster than men, so
Mm-hmm.
the maturity level is not there, and and when you have money, it's more expounded. It gets exacerbated
Yeah.
more because I have means now.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
You see that
Yeah.
with the athletes that become millionaires overnight, and they got 6 and 7 kids in 3 years. You're like, well, but if they didn't have that money, it wouldn't be like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it depends on how they're developing, who's in their life. Um, a lot of young men growing up, we just had mothers. We had fathers, but they weren't really in the household. So
Mm-hmm.
you got that one perspective from just a woman. So they really don't understand what it's like, what it is to be a man, a real man. So they never had those talks. So it's hard to um, get them to understand the concept of relationships
Mm.
because they didn't see one growing up.
Yeah.
But this generation now is more um, mother father relationships going on. I see. So now this generation growing up now, they're seeing the difference, and they even when we're talking to them, they speak differently.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I think that them 70s and 80s babies, it was hard out here for us.
You ain't lying. Yeah, it was different. Yeah, and it even shows up in how I guess the current generation of men, I would say my age, and how they date and their perspective on relationships and marriage and family and being a husband. Some men don't want to be a husband.
At all. And some of them want to be a husband, but still want to have fun too. So
That listen, that part right there. That yeah, they
because
want.
they're of age, but they're not grown.
Mm, they're of age, but they're not grown.
Yes.
Yeah. So you mentioned the phrase "real man," and I've heard that on so many different occasions, in different contexts. So what is your definition of what a real man is?
A real man takes care of his responsibilities.
Mm,
A real man is there physically, emotionally, spiritually for whoever they're with. A
mm-hmm,
real man makes sure his family is taken care of.
mm,
Even
mm-hmm,
if they're not the breadwinner, they still have a part in what's going on. That's
mm,
another thing. We have a lot of men that um, maybe not the breadwinner in the family. Wife, the young lady might make more than them, but
mm-hmm.
they still do their part. So that makes the relationship together. That brings it together because no matter who's making the money, everybody has a part in the relationship. So a
Yeah.
real man is making sure no matter what's going on that he's a part of the relationship and a part of the family and making sure everything comes together. And he's a protector.
Mm. Yes, I like that you said he has a part in a relationship. And for our younger women who are watching, our teenage girls, it's very important to understand that concept because we naturally give, and sometimes in a relationship with a guy who may not be doing his part, you may be carrying the majority of both parts. But like Brother Austin said, he has to be able to do his part. I like that you said that. Right? Would you agree with that statement?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
And I mean, sometimes a lot of times a lot of guys I know that they might not have the educational success like the woman that they're with. So a lot of times they would do whatever they can to make the relationship be strong, not just because they can't do it financially, they do it other ways. And I think that's something that has been happening recently that I've been seeing a lot of.
Yeah. And I think that's okay. I think whatever works for your relationship is fine. Just show up as a fully present, willing participant. And honestly, a good woman would receive that wholeheartedly without judgment.
Because I was talking to a young lady a couple of years ago, and they were like, in their age bracket, they can't find a person that meets them in what they're doing. So I said, okay, so what is your criteria?
Hmm.
Her criteria is like, well, they got to make six figures, they got to drive a BMW, they got to do this and do that. I said, okay, so is that if that's not working for you, so what are you going to do to kind of get something, trying to change up a little bit? Well, that's what I'm not changing. That's what I'm going to do. I said, okay. The next year, oh, guess what? I met somebody. I'm like, okay, yeah. Well, what does he do? What is he? Oh, he drives on a garbage truck. I was like, you driving a garbage truck? I thought you said that you wasn't. He said, no, but look, he talks to me. He treats me nice. We go out to eat. He buy me like I like it. I like him. I'm like, yeah, you don't like the things he can do. You like him, and that's the problem. A lot of times we
Mm,
like what they can do, but we don't like the
mm,
person.
mm.
Like
Yeah.
I coaching AAU basketball for IXL. We a lot of kids, parents, they both travel on the events. Like we played through the month of July, and then after the kid graduated, a lot of them got divorced. So I'm like, what's
Wow.
going on?
Yeah.
But I come to find out they didn't really like the person they was with. It was just convenient for them. And once
What
it
they
wasn't a kid, was once the kid was gone, it wasn't no mutual thing that we had to deal with. It's like, do I really like this person?
Wow. That's
You
very
don't
interesting.
really, yeah, you don't. You're doing it for other things, but not doing it for the right reason. Like you don't really have a like. Somebody told me one day, like I didn't even we don't even do the same things.
Mm.
They realized after like 10 years, but it was ten
Whoa.
years. But so you have to realize a person can give you and do anything for you, but you got to be able to say, okay, what am I getting out of this relationship?
Mm.
Are we both getting something out of this relationship? But if it's
Yeah.
only going one way, or you're trying to do everything to make sure this guy stays home, and it's not gonna work.
Yeah. Yeah, that's some those are some really, really good points, especially when it comes to dating, because I don't know why this culture um thinks in that way when it comes to trying to secure a type of man. Like he has to have this laundry list of salary, car, house. And I'm like,
No
all of that,
kids.
no kids, like all of those things. Yes, I get it. You want the finer things in life, but does he treat you well? Does he listen to you? Does he respect you? Does he
That's big respect.
respect? Does he respect you? Does he respect your boundaries? Does he see your future with you? Like those, I feel like characteristics when looking for someone to be in a healthy relationship with are very, very important to consider. And we can't be held up in this, idea of he has to have certain things, and you could be missing out on a real good guy just because he doesn't have things you want on your list. So I appreciate you sharing that comment. Vanessa says, that's real. It can be a different dynamic in the marriage. Yes. That is very true. Yeah. And I like that you said, are you both getting something out of the relationship? So it has to be a mutual effort and a mutual benefit, like both putting in and both getting something out of it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So men, some men may not know, or young men may not know what it means to be single or how to navigate that journey. What are some things young men should be doing during their single season?
Working on themselves.
Yeah.
Working on themselves. Making sure they're a person that somebody will want to be with.
Ooh, yeah, 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 yeah.
A lot of times we think that we know it all and they gotta just settle for what we are, and that's not doesn't work all the time.
Yeah.
And this is the older me talking, not the younger me. Younger me was the same way, but the older
Yeah.
me realized that um, I had some things I had to work on for myself. Like
Mhm.
my wife, if I would have met my wife a year earlier, we would have never worked
Yeah.
because I was still in I wasn't in my right state of mind.
Mhm.
I still was in my play. I wanted to play,
Mhm.
and we had these conversations, me and her, and it was like, and I don't think she said the same thing. Like she probably wouldn't work either, but when I decided to change my people, places, and things, is when
Mm.
I was found myself ready to be in a relationship,
Yeah.
and that's the hard part. I talk to a lot of guys. It's the hard part of changing your people, places, and things. And what I mean by that, if you're hanging with a bunch of single dudes and y'all going to the clubs and doing all type of things, you're not going to change,
Yeah.
right? So I had to fall back on that, right?
Mm.
Places that we would go, strip clubs, bars, um, DR, different places like that. Yeah, and when you're in those places, things might happen,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the things you should do: go out, buy drinks, get drunk outside. Oh, I'm about to, find somebody, take them home. So I had to change all of that in order to be able to understand, like for you to be able to be ready for somebody to be in a relationship with. I had
Mm.
to. And when I first met my wife, I told her that. She was like, "So what do you? Why do you think you was ready to get married?" I said, "Yo, I had to change my people, places, and thing." And she got mad, like upset, like, "What you mean? You can't go nowhere and be able to not engage in different things?" I said, "No, it's not like that. I go out with my single friends.
Mm.
They got a bunch of girls in the section. Because, when you go out with our fellas, we want to get a section. We want to pop bottles. So now there's a bunch of women over there in the section.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody take a picture of me over there in the section with a bunch of women. What's going to happen when you see
Oh
that
yeah.
picture on Instagram or whatever? Oh, you was out there. So I can't do that because it's not going to be a healthy relationship. Because every time I'm out there with my friends, you're going to think, well, they doing that. I'm doing that. You are who you hang with, right?
Yeah.
So I had to change it. I told one of my best friends, like, we we're brothers. That's how close we are. I was like, yo, until you get married, we're not hanging together.
I respect you for that.
Told my wife. He was getting coffee one day at Quick Check, and she was in there getting ready for going to work. He said, "Yo, you know what your husband said to me, right?" She was like, "What he say? What he say?" He said, "We can't hang together until I find a girlfriend that I want to be with or a wife." She's like, "What?" He was like, "Yeah," because he said I'm not getting him in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah.
and I stuck to that too. I'm not, because I already know when we together, I know what it is.
Yeah.
And it's not that I can't control myself. It's that I don't want to be put in an awkward position,
Right. Right.
because we have people out there that don't want you to be in a good relationship, healthy relationship. So they
Yeah.
just do stuff just to, and it happened. And I'll be like, nah, I don't know what you're talking about. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
Because they got to find themselves. They got to find out what's wrong with themselves, because it's not me. But yeah, not to go long, but people, places, and things help me with my healthy relationship.
Yeah. And you
And
know what? I'm sorry.
it's
Go
not
ahead.
being taught. It's not being taught with the younger
Mm.
generation, because they, why have fun,
Enjoy your life.
enjoy your
Right.
life. Yeah,
Yeah. That's true.
get your numbers up.
Yeah. Lord.
And a funny thing about that is the younger generation girls I know I can talk to in school, because I do a lot of counseling in school, and they feel the same way. Like, I'm doing. So I'm like, so they thinking like the guys now.
Yeah. That's scary too.
Mhm.
That's scary. But I think also when you were saying changing your people, places, and things, it takes maturity to make that decision, but it also takes integrity to continue to make that decision over and over again, because I'm sure there were several occasions where you're invited out to different, events or parties, or come hang with us. Oh, we just, come out for an hour, or oh, stay a little bit, right? But it takes true integrity to hold to that. So
You gotta know when it's time to go home.
you gotta know when it's time to go
A
home.
lot of
That's
times I'll be out and it be the party going on. I'll be like, I'm going home. Yeah, where you going? I'm going with my wife. Or
mm.
I'll bring my sand to the beach. So I can stay out as long as I want. Bring my wife with me.
Right. That's a good way to do it too.
Oh, we going out? All right, no problem. Bring my wife with me.
You
Can't get in
smart. You
trouble like
smart.
that. Can't
Right.
get
You
in
can't
trouble
get
like
it.
that.
Listen, that's a very safe way to do that. All right, we have a question from Vanessa. She said, "What clicked for you that made you want to change? What was like your turning point that made you change in that
My
season?"
wife. My
Mm,
wife. I didn't want to lose her.
wow.
Listen, I brought my wife when I met my wife the weekend before I went out with her. Um, I was in the school and I was talking to my friend. I was like, "Yo, I don't know. I think this might be the one." He was like, "Yeah, whatever." I went out with my family, and my mother had I have a bunch of aunts, right? My mother's sisters, and they were like, "Yo, listen, I'm gonna tell you right now. If you mess this one up, because I was known for messing up, if you mess this one up, we jumping you." So I was kind of pressured into people facing the thing because I don't want my aunts, they get busy. I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
like, nah, they're not jumping me because the person she was, it was like, yo, you're not gonna get a person like this so often. And I think, honestly, I think in life you might get two chances to put the person,
Mm,
not the same person, different persons.
mm.
And a lot of times that person that's you know good and doing what she need to do, we be like, oh, she corny, huh? No, and move on, not knowing that that might have been the person that was God sent for you. And then now you're
Mm.
crying like, God, why I can't find her? Why not? I
The
sent
one,
somebody for you already, but you decide that wasn't the person.
the one that
So
got away.
right, my thing was now I was like, this one ain't getting away. I told her you like old luggage that you have to sit on, you should snap them things in. I'm keeping you forever.
I know that's right.
Yeah,
I
but yeah,
love that.
that I changed because I wanted to make sure that this relationship was going to last forever. So
Mm,
I tried to change, and and the thing about that is a man or woman won't change until they're ready, until they
yeah,
want to, until
yeah.
they weren't ready to put the work in to change. You know what I
Mm,
mean,
yeah.
everybody can say I'm gonna change, but you got to be able to put the work because it's hard.
It's hard.
It's daily. Like my wife had to realize it's a daily struggle working in a education, working around people all the time. You get different looks and hey, and they know how you used to be, and they,
Mm-hmm.
people talk and oh, now you acting funny now. You gotta be able to strong to be able to get through all that the noise.
Yeah, yeah.
'Cause people still come up to you like, "What's up? What's going on? What you want to do later?" I'm like, nothing. I'm like Tyrese on Baby Boy. I'm not messing this up, man. Nah. This is too good for me. I'm not
I know
messing this
that's
up.
right.
You can take that. I mean, of course, we talk. We have different relationships, but nothing getting to the point where it's gonna be disrespectful to my wife
Mm,
because
mm.
I decided I want to change.
Yeah. I love that. Listen.
And I'm not perfect. I'm not
Yeah,
perfect, but I'm a work in progress.
yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Wow. That's I appreciate your answer and you sharing that because I think a lot of men go through that same experience where they meet a really, good woman or a woman, meets someone and they like, "Oh, I don't want to lose her. What do I got to do to keep her around?"
But also though, with that is that if you feel like just because you want to be with that person and you feel like this might be the one, it might not be the one. That's
Mm,
okay too. But as
okay.
long as but I feel like if you tried and you put what you had to put in it, sometimes you don't get it reciprocated, you don't get it back, but you try. You know what I'm saying? You try to give out your emotions and be able
Yeah.
to be vulnerable. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's
Yeah.
because okay, and it might not work out, but you didn't say, you know what? I ain't even try. A lot of
Yeah.
times I'll be like, "Damn, I don't know. She might have been the one, but I ain't even really tried to see if
Yeah.
that was like that. You got to try
Yeah. You got to
because
try.
it's never gonna have 100%, but maybe you never know. Might be the
Yeah.
one.
That's true. That is very true. So, what do you think the purpose of singleness for men is?
Singleness for men is men that want to be single is men that want to be able to do and play and get whatever they want from this world. They they're not ready to be in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
They mentally, a lot of people mentally check out of relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about it, they'll game you all day, like, yeah, this is what I want to do. I want to be in a relationship, but they really don't want to be in a relationship because you know why? You got to show that you want to be in a relationship.
Mm. Yeah. So, two questions I have for you based off of what you said, because there might be a teenage girl watching who may not understand what play is for a young man or what those characteristics look like. What does play look like? Like a
Uh,
man that wants to play.
dealing with three women at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
uh, clubbing every night or every
Uh-huh.
other weekend, or um, sometimes you call the phone, they don't answer the phone. When they with you, they got their phone turned, the screen turned the opposite way.
Uh-huh.
Huh? Um, just basically that, not ready to be in a relationship.
Okay. So,
Understanding that they want to do and be whoever they want to be
mm, yeah,
without any cares.
yeah. I always used to say this with men that want to play. They want the benefit of you, but not the responsibility of you.
Of course, of
And
course.
that's how you know they playing.
Yeah, but a lot of times, like we said earlier, women are emotionally attached, so they don't
Yeah.
see all that until
Right.
maybe down the line, and they be like, "Dang, I seen the signs." That's okay too,
Yeah.
because a lot
Yeah.
of times love is blind, right?
Yeah.
So when
Yeah.
you fall in love with someone, sometimes you might not see all the signs, but your friends do,
Yeah.
your relatives do. Mama and daddy might do, but then we don't want to hear that from them because nah, you don't know what he do for me or she do for me.
Yeah.
Nah, you don't know that. You don't know that. But you think you're getting the 100%, but you're only getting 70, 60.
Mm. Yeah.
Like for instance, I had a young girl the other day, student. She's all in love and she like, oh, but this is my first love. And I'm like, listen, young lady, you're gonna this first love, okay, I understand, but it's not your last love.
Yes. Your first
We
love.
always have a first love, but it's not gonna be your last love
Yes.
because everybody has a season,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes the season is short, like fall. A lot of
Yep.
times, summer is going into fall now, and winter is coming into fall, so fall is shorter. So
Yeah.
sometimes your season is not as long as you want it to be
Mm.
because you outgrow people, you outgrow
Yeah.
relationships, you outgrow friendships, you outgrow everything.
Yeah.
But just don't be stagnant.
Yeah.
And a lot of relationships is stagnant. There's no growth. That's
Yeah.
when you know the relationship is over when there's no growth. It's
Ooh.
just it's just sitting there. And you're just going through the same things over and over and over. Bobby ain't come home last night. Bobby won't answer his phone. Bobby said he had to work late, but I went to the job and his car wasn't there. It's stagnant. That
Mm.
means what? Your season is over.
Season is over.
Like
Yeah.
like the NBA, the Lakers when they lost, they go on vacation. The season over
Yeah.
with. It's over. I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not dealing with that because you have so much to offer the world or somebody. Why stay stuck in that season?
Mm.
And it's okay being single. Nothing
Yes.
wrong with it. Nothing
Yes.
wrong with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's yeah, it's nothing wrong with it. And
A lot,
listen,
a lot
enjoy
of
it,
people think that, yeah, a lot
right?
of people think, oh, I got to be in a relationship. No, you don't.
But
No, you don't. Have fun. It'll come. You know when that right person comes. Men
yeah.
and women. Have fun. Don't settle. That's one thing I tell a lot of everybody. Don't settle.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good. Don't settle. And look, this is what the Life After Her podcast is, where you may have experienced some hurt in life when it comes to relationships and you're single for a while, and whatever the case might be, there is always something good coming after something hurtful. So, like you said, don't settle. Know when a person's season is over. Sometimes seasons aren't meant to last. Like everything you were saying is so important. Don't stay stagnant.
But
Don't.
also, don't be that lady in the front of the church pew either with that big hat on. We all know who that lady is. We've seen that lady a lot of times where she waiting on that person, and she 80 years
Yeah,
old now, and you know what I mean. So that's why I
yeah,
said, have fun. You know, enjoy, but on your terms.
yeah.
Never on nobody else's terms. On your terms.
Yeah, enjoy on your terms. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. Don't yeah, don't be the lady who gonna end up with cats.
Right. Or that dog. They got two dogs and a cat, right? And that's that's
Right.
that's that's their relationship. No, have fun. You eventually you'll find somebody, but a lot of people, what they do, they don't want to go out, they don't want to do anything, they want to stay in the house, they go to church, but a lot of times you're not going to find people all the time in church. Most of the people in church are in a relationship,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then the ones that you might find in church be in a relationship, it's still going to it's still want to be with you.
right,
So
right.
do it on your terms, but have fun. See what's
Yeah,
out there. Don't be huddled in your yourself because I just had a bad relationship and I broke up and now I don't know what to do. No, you know what to do. Have
yeah,
fun. Enjoy
yeah,
yourself in
yeah.
moderation. In
And
moderation.
right, let's be clear.
Yes, yes, in moderation.
That is so. Yeah, that's good. That's true. Vanessa says she's enjoying this interview. He's sharing real life truths. That's why I asked Brother Austin to come because he we have some good conversations in the office. And so
Make
I
you
thought,
laugh. I make you laugh every day.
yeah, he does. Yeah, he be getting on my case sometimes too, but we gonna say that for another day. But we we have a we have a good time. Vanessa says, I want to say this. I'm 64 years young. Some people may think that the things this gentleman is sharing is for the younger generations. There are seasoned 60 plus men exhibiting these behaviors. So,
Exactly. And they're not ready. Those guys that's at 60 plus doing that, they're not really, their title is a man, but they're
mm,
really still acting like a boy.
mm, wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because and I was told this other day, my wife said she was talking to her friends, and it was like, why like when we get to a certain age, a lot of men then they want to start getting a relationship. They call them geriatric husbands. What you mean by that? Yeah, once their body start falling apart and they can't do too much, they got taking all this medication. They want to build a relationship. Nah, no. Get me when I'm younger. I don't want to
Right.
wait till you 60. Now I got to take care of you. No, no. So eventually, them guys gonna want to be in a relationship because they getting older. They gonna need somebody to help them and do stuff like that. Now, those are the guys. That 60 plus. That's gonna happen for them because guess what? Eventually, they can't do everything they normally used to do. Right? They
Hmm.
take all this medication. Now they gotta go to the doctor every other day. Their eyes messing up. Their bones clicking. Then they want to be in a relationship. Right? No, you should no. Don't wait till you on you a geriatric now. You want to be in
Right.
a relationship? No. That's
Right.
not gonna
Like,
work.
where was that energy before when you was
Right?
younger?
We just run around doing all this with that. We got the BMW with the drop top and all that. Now you want to be no. Now you now since you got the little Camry now you want
Right.
Camry now you want to be in a relationship. Get out of here.
Right. 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 That is too funny. All right, so we are winding down on our questions. It is
Oh.
often. Oh, you're having a good time. See, I told you you was gonna have fun. So it said that girls are raised and boys are loved. What are your thoughts about that statement?
That's true. As my younger cousins and stuff, women, girls, um, was taught the rules, cooking,
Mm,
cleaning. Make sure you got a clean house. Make sure you know how to cook for your man. Make sure you know how to keep a man. Make sure you all the emotional stuff to be in a relationship from birth. Because that's what our grandmothers did. My grandmothers didn't work. What they did, they took care of the house, the
yes,
kids.
yes.
When a man came home, they know how to take care of a man, make sure he was good, right? My grandmother told me her grandmother told her make sure you do everything that he so he had to go nowhere else to get nothing else from somebody else,
Yeah,
and that's what was taught back then, right?
yeah.
Little boys was taught what? Yo, get as many women as you can because eventually you ain't gonna be able to work like you used to. So
Yep.
then you, so do whatever you can now. So that was what we were raised to be.
Yeah.
Emotionalist boys trying to get sleep and be with every woman we can.
Mm,
That was the goal.
mm,
That was my goal. And majority of my friends go.
mm. Yeah.
So we were raised in the same household, but not with the same values.
Yeah. Complete contrast. It's different. It's totally different. So we gotta, I think we're kind of getting there, but I think we have to put a little bit more effort into changing that narrative for young men.
Talking with these young men these days, they're different. Like their thought pattern is way different than and getting to them to understanding life and values and emotional stuff. It depends on the kid, but a lot of them like, man, I don't want to hear that, man.
Yeah.
They think they know everything.
They do.
So like the days of having dialogue and stuff like that, I ain't gonna say it's over, but it's gonna be a little bit harder because these kids, these young men now think they know more than the 70-year-old man.
Which is very interesting. Like, how do you, a 14-year-old, know more than a 74-year-old?
Right, exactly. You see it even at school when we try to talk to the kids, they were like, "Huh?"
Yeah.
They're receptive because of who I am,
Yep.
but they still question.
Yeah. Yeah. And they don't, and I mean, teenagers are teenagers. And this is not saying anything negative or trying to downplay them because we've all been teenagers before. So we've been in that season, but I don't think it really clicks. But I think what's important about what you're doing and the role that you play at the high school is that you're planting those seeds. And
Right.
so hopefully by the time they become older, they be like, oh, this is what Austin was talking about, or this is what he meant, you know. So it's all about planting the seeds, I believe.
Yeah, exactly. Excuse me,
Yeah.
exactly. That's
Yeah.
exactly what's going on.
So for men that are single, what do you think they should be working towards or pursuing? Because
Depends on
we
the
just
individual.
share, right, what women kind of do and pursue, but what should what about men? So you said it depends on the individual.
Men, you can't put men in a box because they're individual thinkers, and
Yeah.
a lot of women you can kind of not put in a box, but they kind of think the same way. And
Yeah.
men have different perspectives on what they want to do, what they want to achieve, who they want to be with, how long they want to be with that person, and it's it's going to take a while for them to realize the things that they need or why single is not the singleness of relationships is not a great thing
Mm-hmm.
because I think when you with a good woman, you learn from them. You know, you learn
Mm,
how to be a man. They can teach you how to be a man.
Mm.
Even though they're not men, they can teach you because they understand what they want in a man. They can give you good ideas, and they can let you be vulnerable and understand that you can cry, you can talk about things, you can talk about your feelings. Because one thing that we didn't say before, but we were taught not to deal with our feelings at all.
Yeah.
So it's hard for men to open up to women, and that's a big part of relationships. If them being able to open up and have just a dialogue about why they feel the way they feel or why they said what they said. A lot of times it's like I said what I said and that's it. But
Mm-hmm.
why did you say it? What,
Yeah.
what brought you to that point? And I think what a great woman does is give you that safe space to be able to express yourself. Because I've been around some women where they be like, "Man, please, I don't want to hear that," or they'll be like almost telling us like, "You shouldn't even be thinking about stuff like that."
Yeah.
But how you know? How, like because that's what they seen growing up from men. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if until you meet a woman that's open to letting you express yourself to them and make yourself vulnerable, it's gonna be hard. But is over time, I think it'll work. So
Yeah.
as a unit, I think we can start to show the younger generation how relationships should be and the things that should go on a relationship and things like your platform, people seeing and understanding that yes, it's going to be hard, but it can be done.
Yeah.
Even though you were raised and you thought a certain way, it's not the final thing. It's not the final chapter. You can
Yeah.
always add to the book
Yes. Okay. You being poetic tonight, I see.
a little bit. I dibble and dabble in a lot of different things. I'm multifaceted.
Okay. All right. Brother Austin. But I like that you said that, a woman could teach a man some things because you don't hear that too often. Allowing him to open up and express himself, and we have to work together as a unit. I love that. I think you're right. Like for older women who may be around, younger men or even young adult men or just men in general, we women have influence, and I don't really think we understand fully our power and our influence and what the things that we can do to change in a good or bad way. And so I think as women we can improve on how we facilitate those interactions or um, help guide men in that area. I remember, growing up hearing man up or don't cry or suck it up, like telling that to a boy. And I would hear that as a younger, girl, but as an adult, I'm like, no, don't say that. That's not safe.
But the women used to tell the men that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's what I'm, yeah. So
Yeah.
we have to change that.
Yes. No, show your emotions. Yo, you can cry as women. Yeah, growing up. Yeah, you can do that. But
Yeah.
women, what you mean? No, you don't cry. But the women said it. So not only the men in our lives, the women in our wives' lives will say the same thing.
Yeah.
But as we get older and we start being able to articulate ourselves to the different generations, I think that's a big part. Women, because to be honest, everybody knows this. Women, without women, this whole world would be whatever. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you have, and I'm gonna say this respectfully, you have to understand the power that you have
Mm-hmm.
as
Mm-hmm.
women,
Mm-hmm.
because nothing can go on in life without a woman.
Mm.
You give life.
Ooh. Yeah.
You give life. Life develops in you.
Yeah.
So imagine
Ooh.
if the baby is in you and you're preaching this to the baby while they're in you, he has no choice when he comes out to be what? Understanding, okay, this is what I need to do. So it starts there in the womb.
Wow. Mm.
That's not to put a lot of pressure and onus on the women, but it starts there because you bring life forth.
Yeah,
So
that's
help
good.
us men, and guide
Listen,
us, motivate us to be better. We need your help, sisters. We need your help.
wow. Y'all heard it on the barbershop talk. Brother Austin said, help us out, ladies. We gotta step in. We gotta step in. That's good. That's really good. I like how you put that. Um, any last words of encouragement for our audience? Men, women, whoever might be watching the replay. Any last words of encouragement you would like to leave?
Yes, listen, trust me. I didn't settle down till I was 42. It can happen for you. I met the perfect person for me at 42. It
Aw,
can happen.
aw.
Just trust me. Trust and believe. It's gonna happen for you. But you got to put the work in.
Yeah,
You have to try to do not try, because try is to fail. You have to do the work.
yeah,
Because I guarantee you, if you do the work, you put the work in, it'll happen.
yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Brother Austin. Before we wrap up, I want to give people, the folk, an opportunity to ask questions. Or if you guys don't have any questions, you want to shout out, thank Brother Austin for his awesome words of wisdom. Anything you ladies and gentlemen would like to share? Any questions as we are waiting for people to share. I want so after every episode, Austin, we I like to do an affirmation at
Mm.
the end because I feel like something about an affirmation just is powerful and it leaves people with something to look forward to or work towards, as you were saying, putting in that work. And so I like that you said that everyone has a season. Sometimes their seasons aren't meant to last. Don't be stagnant. So I think that is such an appropriate way to the appropriate affirmation for today's podcast. So that's our affirmation, coined by Brother Austin. Everyone has a season. Sometimes their seasons are not meant to last. Don't be stagnant. I love when you
Right.
said that earlier.
You're welcome, Jess.
Yes, Jessica. That's your brother too, because he's my brother. All right, y'all. Any questions before we wrap up? And again, happy Father's Day. Let's give Brother
Thank you.
Austin
Thank
a
you.
happy Father's
Thank you.
Day.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
you're
I'm hanging out
welcome.
with my friends tomorrow. Today I did the little Father's Day thing today. Tomorrow I'm hanging out
Okay.
with my friends, my
Okay.
married friends.
I'm about to say, look. What friends
I
you
forget
talking
that. Nah, all my friends are married.
about? Okay, okay. Listen, I know that's right. I love it. I love it. Well, again, I appreciate you, brother. I thank you for your time and just being willing to come on my podcast. I remember when I first met you, you were just like always a positive person in the building that I could trust. And you have been very supportive of my role. At our place of employment, and I really appreciate it. And I think your wife as well. You talk so highly of her, and I feel like I know her, and I know she's an amazing woman. So please tell your wife thank you for allowing you to do this podcast.
I am who I am because of her.
Oh, that's sweet. That's sweet. Well, I hope to meet her one day. Just says
Definitely.
happy Father's Day.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, y'all. Well, y'all have a wonderful evening. Be safe, stay cool in this hot weather, and happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. Peace.
Peace.